Production funding is provided by A. Reddix and Associates, Health Information Resource Center, offering short-term training for long-term professional careers in medical coding. HIRCVA.net.
Discussing the issues and celebrating the successes of the African American community. This is Another View.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Another View. I'm Barbara Ham Lee. Last November, the Urban League of Hampton Roads held a summit called Speak Now, Act Now, designed to engage the African American community around economics, education, entrepreneurship, employment, and the environment. Summit participants were inspired by journalist and commentator Roland Martin and charged to get busy in our own community to make things better. And a promise was made that we would regularly report back to the community on the progress, which is what we shall do tonight. So please welcome Edith White, President and CEO of the Urban League of Hampton Roads, J.R. Locke, Executive Director of the Hampton University Business Incubator, and Cheryl Ross, Education Reporter for the Virginian Pilot and President of the Hampton Roads Black Media Professionals. Welcome to the program, everybody.
Thank you.
Good. Edith, you took on a big responsibility, the Urban League did, to charge the community and to get them going. Why did that start? How did it start? And where are we going?
Taking on a big responsibility is not uncommon for the Urban League. We've been in the business of taking on the biggest issues that impact our community for more than 100 years across this country. And here in Hampton Roads, we recognized that we needed to recharge the community by bringing in Roland Martin and taking a look at what we are doing as a community to improve conditions for everyone, and then to take a look at what can we do moving forward to be in an even better position as we look at the challenges that are facing our community today.
So for those who weren't at the event, and I was blessed enough to be the MC and really enjoyed it, but give us a sense of how many people came, kind of what the day was like.
It was a day where over 300 citizens from across the region, I believe every city was represented well there that day, to engage in a dialogue after a charging speech by Roland Martin, of course, to look at where the African American community is in respect to education, housing, workforce development, the environment, and entrepreneurship. So that day began with the charge from Roland Martin and a national perspective of these issues. We had national panelists in addition to Martin who briefed us on these issues, and then we had an exemplary local panel to bring it home, to bring the perspectives home. We had the Dean of the School of Business, both at Norfolk State and ODU, and we had journalists and others from the local community who gave us their insights on the challenges that face us all. And
go ahead.
And at the end of the day, everyone came together to talk about how can we now take this information and translate it into action. And so that's where we are now, looking at the action steps.
Now, both J.R., you and Cheryl were both there at the conference, and J.R., you took on the entrepreneurship section, if you will, of the summit, and actually put on a workshop. Tell us about that and how you were able to pull that together.
Well, the workshop on entrepreneurship really was kind of a natural for me in terms of what I do every day as an executive director of the Hampton University Business Incubator. We often provide workshops on how to run your business, help people how to start businesses. So entrepreneurship is an area that I feel many people are looking toward getting involved in, because with the economy being on the decline and jobs overall changing drastically, more people are looking toward entrepreneurship. So I felt like this would definitely would be a great workshop, for us to sponsor and just become part of the Urban League's effort.
And were you inspired from the conference itself?
Yes, I was. Actually, I was asked to do the charge at the end of the program, and it really was very inspiring because, as Edith indicated, it was a great turnout, and people seemed to be really excited about the symposium itself. I thought it was one of the best programs that I've been involved with the Urban League, and my 17 years being affiliated with the Urban League.
Now, when you put together the workshop over at Hampton University, did people come because they had been involved in the Empowerment Summit? And I know it was open to everyone, but did you also have people who said, I got inspired, now I'm taking that next step?
Well, actually, most of the participants were people who did not attend the symposium. They were small business owners that we had reached out to the community because it was open to everyone. And so these were individuals that were interested in learning how to enhance their business, as well as people trying to get into business, because we set it up to attract people across 3 different spectrums. Those individuals who were thinking about going into business, people who have been in the business for at least 2 to 5 years, and then business owners who've been in business more than 5 years. So we wanted a cross-section of perspectives on what those business owners felt that they needed to become a successful entrepreneur.
Okay. And Cheryl, I know you were at the summit also,
Yes.
but Hampton Roads Black media professionals had already started working a little bit on education, but was this kind of a catalyst to kind of push it along?
Yes, I would say definitely the Urban League event actually helped give us the focus for the town hall. We had a town hall just this past weekend that focused on education, and again, there were 5 E's in the Urban League program: employment, education, entrepreneurship, etc. And the takeaway that our group had was, although these 5 topics were discussed, it seemed that so many of the panelists kept coming back to education being the key to the other 4 E's. And our group, Hampton Roads Black Media Professionals, has been focusing on an education initiative to inspire children to stay in school, and this just seemed like a natural topic to discuss, education.
So tell us about the forum last week. Who was there, and how did the community react to it?
Okay, well, we had easily about 80 participants in the forum, which was held in Newport News at the Downing Gross Cultural Arts Center, and we had superintendents as panelists from Hampton, Newport News, Portsmouth Public Schools, community activists, community leaders, parents, students. In the audience, again, people span the range of participants, and we went for 2 hours, and in fact I think we had several speakers who did not even get a chance to speak at the very end because there was so much excitement and clamoring for the microphone. And we have had definitely people coming back to us in the days since saying, we'd like to see another town hall. And when is that going to happen?
Now, I want to ask this of all 3 of you, because a lot of times we have these symposiums and we have these workshops and these town hall meetings, and everybody walks away feeling good, but then what? So out of your individual experiences, what is the and then what, Edith?
The and then what is exactly what's going on in our communities every day. There are opportunities and action steps that organizations and individuals are taking. These events are simply, and you used the word catalyst, they're an opportunity to move forward and to have some focus and intentionality around some of these topics. But every day people are being helped find jobs, they're being helped to gain access to health care, they're being helped to learn about the green economy and see how they can prepare for opportunities in the green world. All of these things are going on. Students are being provided access to education, but naturally there is more that needs to be done. So the and then what is, how do we take it to the next level? And the key is individual participation and ownership, which was a point that Roland was clear to make. How is everyone going to make a difference? Whether that's taking 1 hour a week and devoting that to community service, and there are many organizations that would benefit from that 1 hour of additional service. It's also the advocacy role, and that's another way the Urban League participates, by looking at some of these tough issues that are beyond what an individual could do and bring together the right groups so that we can effectively advocate in Congress and wherever we need to make our position on these issues known.
What's the and then what from the entrepreneur workshop?
Well, I don't know if it was a then what, but we were focusing more on the act now.
Okay.
And one of the things that came out of that particular workshop was that we received a listing of all the purchasing agents through the municipalities in Hampton Roads, and we're distributing that through the small business owner participants for the workshop. So
there's something very concrete, that they can go to in terms of presenting the businesses that they have.
Exactly, because oftentimes when people try to do business with the cities, the first question is, who do I contact? And so contacting those purchasing agents really is an integral part of that process. The other element of the Act Now was that we're going to post some of the comments, the challenges, and we discuss what some of those resolutions would be for those questions, and we're going to post those on the Urban League website. So anybody would be able to go to the website and look at some select questions that people felt were really an integral part of running their business, so that other business owners can gain that information.
Cheryl, what was the outcome?
Well, we had, as I said, all kinds of responses to our town hall. One of those being, will there be another one? Was this just a one-time thing? It was so great, we hope there will be more. And it was just a few days ago for us, so we are in the process of looking at what is going to come next. We have a lot of ideas, but it really is probably too early to say exactly what is going to come next. But there will be something.
But did parents walk away with, say, for instance, some concrete things they can do to encourage their children to stay in school? Or did educators walk away with some ideas maybe from the community that they may not have thought about? Was it that kind of an exchange?
I would say that, there were, I've called them aha moments. I think there were some aha moments for some of those who were present. I can't obviously speak for everyone. One of our panelists is in the process of trying to launch a program at her church where volunteers will reach out and work with suspended students, to help them keep on top of their homework while they're out of school. That is an initiative actually to help to keep kids in school, to, again, back to the whole issue of this dropout rate, to try to stem that. And I know as I, from the stage, looked around the audience, that there were some faces out there that registered a, wow, I didn't know things like that were going on. And you could see the wheels were spinning. People were thinking about. So
exposure to the topic, more so bringing to the community's attention that there is a major issue.
Yes.
That's going on out there. Yes.
May I give you another
solution?
Sure,
Absolutely.
One problem that was identified, of course, with this major unemployment issue that we have is that employers cannot contact individuals sometimes. They don't have the communication. If they don't have a job, the phone may have been cut off, or they may have put down a relative's phone number, and so when the employer tries to reach that individual, there's not a connection. So we have actually started a program where we're providing a free cell phone to individuals who are having this problem, so that that connection can be made between the prospective employee and the employer. We're hoping that this gets more people back into the workforce. These phones can also be used if, in the healthcare situation, for example. There are many seniors, for example, who don't have a cell phone. These phones can be utilized in those scenarios as well to provide that bridge and that connection to care.
Does all of this feel like we're kind of going back to the basics in terms of taking care of our community? I listen to my grandmothers and my mother and other relatives talk about how the black community would come together to solve an issue, within the community, and but that was at a time also when families were kind of all living together, and the communities were more tight knit. We've had changes in our society, but it feels like this is what we're doing, JR.
It is, because when you look at our economy, it's certainly transitioned in the last 15 to 20 years, with us losing a big foundation in the manufacturing sector, and more service-oriented jobs are become available. Now it's great to have those jobs available, but they don't provide the same income base that the manufacturing jobs provided. So in order for people to bring their income levels back up, a lot of people are turning to entrepreneurship and being able to provide those services for their own company in order to try to have a viable living.
And what was the sense that you got from, did you really get a sense that the community was coming together?
Oh, definitely. You know, again, one, it was just the number of people. This really was a first-time outing for Hampton Roads Black media professionals presenting a town hall. And again, it kind of gets to the issue of just what you sense, what you feel, because we were only there for 2 hours, but there was a passion in that room, and people wanted to, you know, the fact that even when we ended, the town hall ended, people were in the hallway, and they were talking for easily an hour or so afterward, maybe even more than that. So there is a need.
So there's a passion out there. Edith, you started with entrepreneurship, education. We've got 3 other E's. That's the economy, the environment, and what am I missing?
Well, the next one, economic development.
Economic development.
Well, the next one actually that we're hosting will be on employment. The title is Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Employment. And that will be on April the 28th. And that information will be on the Urban League website. But we're also looking at the other E's, the environment. As a matter of fact, the Urban League now is going out into the community trying to engage more families in energy efficiency. And we have information that's available around that program that is a partnership with Virginia Natural Gas. So this is ongoing for us. This is not a one-time effort, and we're encouraging individuals, again, to do whatever they can do to be a part of this process. I think you're right. People are feeling more of a need to come together, to support one another, and to support those organizations and entities such as WHRO's Another View that are making a difference in the lives of our community.
You know, while I have you here, because I've been waiting for a long time to get Edith on this show. We've had representatives from the Urban League before, but a lot of people, Edith, I think are confused about exactly what the Urban League is and does. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to just tell us your story.
Great, great. And there is some confusion because the Urban League does so much in the community, but we focus actually on those 5 E's. For example, in employment, we're helping people find jobs, write resumes, again, prepare for the green jobs of the future. We're partnering on a program that will actually provide green jobs training, and that will open a new training center in the next couple of months.
That was an outreach of the summit also, wasn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. In housing, we have saved over 700 homes from foreclosure in this community. Now, when you save a home from foreclosure, you're keeping a house from becoming a victim of crime if it's vacant. You're keeping a child perhaps in the same school. You're keeping that tax base in the city because if no one is living in that house, taxes aren't being paid. So when we're saving these homes from foreclosure, it's having a ripple effect across many sectors of the community. We're providing access to health care. We have a free prescription discount card that's available to anyone in the community to help lower the cost of those medications. But we're also in the forefront of addressing the HIV and AIDS issue. A few weeks ago, we celebrated National Black HIV and AIDS Awareness Day, and we learned that this disease is growing by leaps and bounds, particularly in this community. Every 9.5 minutes, there's a new case that's diagnosed in this country. So we have a team of outreach workers who go into the communities, go into the churches, teach prevention and other educational efforts, including free screening and testing, to try to stem the flow of this particular disease. So we're out there every day. We have our main office in Portsmouth, a satellite in Norfolk, another satellite in Virginia Beach, but we're providing programs across the region. We're in the process of planning for an event in Hampton on May the 25th. That will be our Changing Lives Breakfast on the Peninsula, and a series of programs and opportunities. So the Urban League, you can sum it up by saying we're a friend to the community.
I was going to say, so anybody who thinks the Urban League is not busy, now you know.
Think again. Think again.
Actually, now we promised at the summit that we were going to do a series of report cards. So the next set of workshops and so forth, we'll be back. We'll have you guys back to talk about that also.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank
and when we
you.
come back, another history lesson from the College of William and Mary about blacks and education. But first, here's what's happening in Hampton Roads. The College of William and Mary is known for its history. The 318-year-old institution is the backdrop for the oldest college building in America, Wren Building. It's also the school that educated the nation's first president, George Washington. Now it's believed that the campus is home to Virginia's first school for free and enslaved blacks. Our Lisa Godley takes us to the building on campus thought to be the Bray School.
It doesn't look 18th century at all. But before it was moved to this location on the William and Mary campus and renovated several times, this building is believed to have been the original Bray School, the first school in Virginia to educate the children of slaves and free blacks.
Everything you see between the downspout on the left and the first vertical line on the right would have been the 18th century cottage. Everything else to the left and to the right are appendages that were added probably in the early 20th century.
William and Mary Chancellor Professor of English Terry Myers began researching the idea that this building was the Bray School after learning that an 18th century building had been moved onto the campus in modern times. Myers says he's not 100% certain it's the Bray School, but odds are it is.
And along the way, I discovered that there was a possible link to the Bray School, and I especially discovered that the college had actually owned two slave children, Adam and Fanny, that it sent to the school.
The Bray School was set up on a recommendation by Benjamin Franklin and operated from 1760 to 1774.
Myers says very little of the original school is visible. Architectural historians believe this window, a small door in the center of the house, and this banister are the only original pieces of the structure that you can actually see.
Apparently, it must have been sturdy. It's obviously lasted a long time, and in all the renovations of the house, all the different uses this house has been put to, it's been strong enough that apparently no one felt the need to tear it out and replace it. So it's nice to have that as something that you can see on the inside, at least. Almost everything else is hidden.
Colonel Lafayette Jones, Jr. is very familiar with the Bray School. 3 of his great-great-great-great-grandaunts were free blacks who attended the school.
There were three young ladies. It was Daisy, Mary, and Eliza. And they were about 5 or 6 years old at that time.
The concept behind the Bray School was to teach religious education to both free and enslaved blacks. Colonel Jones has archived much of his family's history in his book, My Great-Great-Grandfather's Journey. In it, he discusses why the education of blacks was frowned upon.
Southern whites generally believed that the education of free blacks would ultimately lead to them becoming discontented and developing ideas about virtually breaking the slave laws in an attempt to overthrow slavery. All of the southern states established laws prohibiting the education of free blacks. However, a surprisingly large number of them learned at least the fundamentals in spite of the barriers established by the white community. My grandfather said that some of the children who had attended the Bray School were able to read and write and were referred to by many as the first black teachers in Virginia.
For Colonel Jones, being able to lean on the banister that his ancestors may have once used is a great feeling.
Because I feel as if I'm a part of that, as if I'm in the Bray School and actually talking to someone about it. And it really makes me feel good, just to feel the surroundings and the reverberations that come from the walls. And I can just feel it inside my body. It causes me to tremble a little bit.
As for Terry Myers, he's hopeful the building will one day be restored to its 18th century appearance and used as a display area.
And I think there's an honest attempt on the part of the college to move in this direction of reconciling itself with members of the black community with whom it's had not very good relations for centuries. And I'd like to see the school function in a sense to document that past and help us overcome it.
For Another View, I'm Lisa Godley.
And that's our show for this evening. We are in our spring television fundraising drive, and Another View needs your help. Your membership ensures that our program and all of our locally produced shows can stay on the air. So please, become a member of WHRO. It's easy. Call 757-889-9476. Basic membership is just $48. Be sure to tell our volunteers that you're calling in support of Another View, and we really appreciate it. Next week, a one-on-one conversation with Imam Vernon Fareed about being African American and Muslim in America. We'll see you next time for Another View.
Production funding is provided by A. Reddix and Associates, Health Information Resource Center, offering short-term training for long-term professional careers in medical coding. HIRCVA.net.